Hey guys, welcome back. Today I've got a really special treat for you. I have Morgan Coffinger, right? Okay. Of Bokashi Evolution here to talk about a really cool composting method that I think is really applicable to people in an urban setting, or really any setting for that matter, but it really goes well for the urban thing. But it's a really cool method, uses virtually no external water, and I'll let her explain a little bit more about it. But I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of talk a little bit about the compost, and then we'll ask you some questions. And then we'll do a hands-on demo.
Well, again, my name is Morgan Coffinger. I do Bokashi Composting, and it's basically fermenting all of your food scraps in a bucket. So it's not necessarily it's not a outdoor pile. All of the food scraps go into the bucket. You simply sprinkle a small amount of what's called bokashi. It's a actual Japanese term meaning fermented organic matter. And this is, it was developed by Japanese farmers hundreds of years ago, so it's been around for a long, long time, and has really taken off in Japan, New Zealand, Australia, starting to gain popularity here in the United States, and all throughout the world, really. And what's so great about it is that you can add meat and dairy, fish, things that normally you couldn't put in an outdoor pile, you can in this, and you can even do it inside, because the bacteria in bokashi actually consumes odor-causing bacteria.
And it's anaerobic, right? So totally sealed?
It is anaerobic.
So perfect for apartment dwellers too. No excuses not to compost.
Absolutely.
So I think what we'll do now is what we're going to do is we'll have you answer a couple questions that I think might be interesting. We'll talk about the actual bokashi. We'll talk about Morgan's system that she sells. And then we'll do a little hands-on demo.
So I graduated from NAU, and I studied political science, and from there I was really overwhelmed by the state of global affairs. It's
Absolutely
really heavy on your shoulders to know, to understand cycles of poverty and corruption and the impacts of colonization and things like that. But when I started to look at solutions and success stories, I was most impacted by the small-scale organic farmers and these small communities of people that were still producing enough food for themselves and their communities, and they were able to hold their culture together in the face of globalization. And I thought, wow, being a farmer is pretty much the coolest thing you could ever do, and I've never grown anything. I want to be a farmer. So I graduated and told my family, I'm gonna be a farmer. And they're like, great, you just got this degree in political science. Have a great time. So I convinced my best friend to go to Hawaii with me, because I thought, oh, they can grow food all year round. It's not like Arizona's growing any food. Wrong, we're growing tons of food. But at the time I didn't know. And so off we go to Maui, where we worked on organic farms as work traders. So it's an organization called WOOF, Worldwide Organic Opportunities for Farmers. And it was an amazing experience. I totally recommend it to young people today, even those that are older. It's a great experience. And so I was living on the land, growing food, and I basically threw it out there to the universe. I really want to rally behind a product, something I can physically hold in my hand, that I can almost carry like a flag, and excite people about growing their own food. And within a few weeks, Bokashi Composting came into my life, and I was able to work on a farm with this amazing family who was making bokashi, selling it at farmers markets. And Jenna Tallman was actually the garden coordinator at a local elementary school, and she was teaching the students all about Bokashi composting.
Oh, wow.
She was really active on the islands. And so she took me under her wing, and off we went. And, you know, within a short year, we were actually backstage at a Jack Johnson concert composting his food scraps.
Wow.
And got to meet Jack Johnson, and today he actually uses Bokashi Composting with his nonprofit. So, I mean,
That's pretty impactful.
it's getting around.
Wow.
So then I decided I needed to leave the islands, and I really wanted to return back home because this style of composting doesn't require any water. And I thought, wow, my family and friends could do this. This is how Arizonans should compost. And so I moved back home and I started this company out of my parents' garage, and little by little started teaching workshops, and joined Seed Spot, which is a social entrepreneurial incubator located in Phoenix, and they really nurtured this business and gave me the tools to become a successful business and to make an even bigger impact. And so here I am today. It's so simple. It's really, really easy. People of all ages can do this. You basically have this food grade bucket, which is easily accessible. All of our food is transported usually in these white buckets, so you can pick them up usually for free from restaurants or grocery stores, things like that. And by adding this simple twist-on airtight lid, which you can pick up at Home Depot, it just snaps on, twists on and off, and it provides this perfect airtight container to basically ferment your food scraps. And with fermentation, the food scraps are already wet, so that's why you don't have to add
Water included.
Water's included. And then when you add the beneficial bacteria, or what's called Bokashi, that starts to rapidly break down the food scraps very, very quickly. So much so that when the bucket's done fermenting, basically once the bucket's full, you set it aside for 2 weeks, let it sit, ferment, then you open up the lid, dig a trench in your garden area, empty the contents, bury, wait another 2 weeks, and you can plant directly on top. The soil's ready and rich and wet and full of all of these nutrients that can be accessed by the plant at the cellular level. So they're getting food right away. So the system is extremely efficient, extremely fast. And the best part is that you don't have to use as much water to grow food. So it's wet in the bucket, it's wet in the soil, and it stays wet. So you can actually use less water to grow your food. Bokashi composting as your personal, you become your own earth superhero in a sense that food waste is something that we contribute to every day, whether we realize it or not. And majority of our landfills are actually food. Over 40% is just food. So then once you start to get interested in growing your own food, you realize that soil is the most important component. The soil needs to be healthy. And composting is the cornerstone to organic gardening and growing your own food. So when you start to see landfills as almost a resource, your trash is resource, we eat every day, we produce waste every day, we can remove all that waste and recycle it in such an impacting and powerful way that you can actually eat from your own waste, in a sense.
Yeah, so we're not losing topsoil, we're gaining it.
We're building it. And
yeah.
As I'm sure you've experienced, when you start growing your own food, you quickly realize that you grow more than you could ever need. And so then that encourages sharing and telling others and inviting people to your backyard and check out this kale. Have you ever tried kale? It's actually very good.
Yeah, composting is a gateway drug.
Exactly. So I see this as something that you can take on you can start to grow your own food, and then you feel powerful in this whole movement where, you know, it's not such a dire situation. It's not so, we don't feel defeated when we're creating our own solutions. Bokashi composting is huge, not only in Japan, but New Zealand. And New Zealand has become the global pioneers for food waste recycling. And they're actually the first country in the world to adopt a zero waste policy through legislation called the Waste Minimization Act in 2008. And for years, I've been looking to New Zealand and admiring this man named Neville Burt. And he's known as Mr. Bokashi. Very fitting. And the food waste recycling movement is huge there. So one night, after a few glasses of wine, I thought, you know what? We live in this high-tech age. I'm just going to fire off an email and see what happens. Within 24 hours, he's like, come on over. You got to check it out. This is amazing. I was like, I'm going to go to New Zealand. That'd be awesome. I've always wanted to produce a documentary about food waste recycling. Here's my opportunity to go straight to the source, the people that are creating this global movement and are pioneering it. I got to do it.
So you've got deep pockets, and you're just going to buy a plane ticket and go over there, right?
I wish.
Oh, okay. So how are you going to get over there?
We're about to launch a Indiegogo campaign, which is similar to Kickstarter. So I'll be coming out with this short little video explaining the trip and how it's really going to become a tool for the food waste recycling movement here. And so once the documentary is finished, I'll be able to go into schools and businesses and talk to local government and have this visual of this is what it could be. And I think that visual is powerful. Here in Arizona, we don't really see it. And this is a way for me to bring it back home and offer solutions and ways to mimic their models, their successful models, and even go into their challenges. And Arizona is a very unique place in an arid climate. I hope to bring back ways to simulate the model.
All right, so now we're going to do a little hands-on, and Morgan's going to talk about actually how to use this kit. She's got some food scraps here, a bag of Bokashi, and her bucket. Like I said, she sells this bucket and the kits on her website.
www.bokashievolution.com.
Or you can just get the Bokashi alone on the website. So I'll let her kind of show how you would work this in your own home.
All right, let's Bokashi compost. So you start with your bucket. You would open your bucket, and if to begin, you want to add actually a few handfuls of newspaper. So just, you can rip them up or you can just crumple them up, throw them in there. And the reason for that is to absorb all the liquid. Now the liquid is actually compost tea, which maybe in another video we can show how to harvest the tea. It really boosts the yield for your garden.
Oh yeah.
Plants love compost tea, as I'm sure you all are well aware of.
Absolutely.
But back to stage one. So you add your newspaper, shredded paper, things like that, carbon materials, so dried leaves, anything that's going to absorb the liquid, sometimes bread. Then you take your Bokashi, and normally you want to add 1 cup to the bottom of the bucket. Or you can just add about 2 handfuls.
So that's just going just on the paper or whatever your bread, whatever you're kind of using as the absorber.
Totally.
So 1 cup, couple handfuls, or 2 or 3 handfuls, and you probably get the hang of it the more you do it. You know, kind of know what feels right.
There's not really, you know, you're never going to add too much Bokashi. You're just adding more microbes, which is not a bad thing. But you'll know when you don't add enough Bokashi, because you'll actually start to smell things that don't smell so delightful. So that's when you know, oh, I should probably add an extra handful. Within 24 hours, the smell goes away.
Okay.
So then we add our fantastic food scraps. And this is from my personal fridge this morning. Sorry about the smell.
No, some of it actually still looks edible.
So here we have some teriyaki chicken and bread and salad, and there's meat and cheese. All of this is good. Processed foods, coffee grounds, anything that you would put in your own body, you can put in the bucket.
Okay.
The only thing you can't put in there is liquids. You wouldn't add milk, you wouldn't add teas or juice, things like that.
So just the liquid that's already in the food naturally?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also, you do not want to add extremely moldy foods. And the reason behind that is we're trying to nurture the good bacteria, not create a war.
Okay.
So oftentimes the Bokashi beneficial bacteria will win out because it is amazing and superior and magical. However, we don't need to encourage the war going on in the bucket. So if you have extremely...
So make it a winnable war.
Yeah.
Start on the right foot.
So get your scraps in there before they are covered in black mold. Add your scraps and simply sprinkle the scraps with a light layer of Bokashi. And a good rule of thumb is for every 1 inch of food scraps you add to your bucket, you'll add about 1 to 2 tablespoons.
Okay, so after that first application, it's just a little bit like a light sprinkling, just to, I guess, spread it about.
Absolutely. And then you put your lid back on and you go about your day. What I do is I have a really those nice metal compost containers that looks pretty on, next to the sink. And I let that fill up a day, maybe 2 days. And then I just dump it in my bucket, add a little bit of Bokashi, and you're good. Walk away. And
so when you do open this up, what kind of smells are you gonna get any smells, or just totally smellless, or?
There is a smell, and I find it to smell somewhat sweet, kind of like pickled vegetables.
Okay.
In a way. What you do not want to smell is rotten food. And if you do begin to smell something that you find kind of offensive, add more Bokashi and it'll go away.
Okay. Perfect.
Pretty easy. So this is what you do. Fill up your bucket. Once it is full, then magic really begins. And you ferment for 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, what do we do with the bucket?
Another thing in regards to the fermentation is you don't want to keep the bucket outside in extreme heat. In the middle of July in Arizona is not a good place for your compost bucket.
Okay.
I keep mine in the garage all year round. So that's a great place to store your bucket.
So a little more of a constant temperature where it's not getting hot, cold every day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the bucket's fermented, it's been 2 weeks, then you go over to your garden bed and you dig a trench. And the trench could be really however long that you desire. Could be about 4 feet, could be 2 feet, it's really up to you. But you do want to dig deep enough down so that you can have about 2 to 3 inches of soil on top.
Okay.
And that's mostly just so animals might not dig it up.
Okay.
However, I'm finding that animals aren't attracted to it at all because the smell doesn't smell like food scraps.
It's not giving off the normal odors of,
right.
of that T-bone steak.
Exactly. Chemically, it is no longer that T-bone steak.
Okay, all right, sweet.
So you bury your scraps, cover it with your soil, and then you wait another 2 weeks. Then after that, you can directly plant on top. Simple. You're not turning your bucket, you're not turning the soil, you're not adding water. It's ready to go.
And it's good for young. Obviously, you can lift, a bucket, but also older or women, men, whatever. It's a pretty manageable size for anybody, right?
Absolutely. And if you want to use a smaller bucket, if it's too heavy, you can use the 3-gallon buckets, and you can buy lids to fit those as well.
Okay.
As long as it's an airtight container, you're good to go.
And some people even keep these in the house.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Underneath the sink.
Underneath the sink works too.
Probably one of the best areas, maybe, because you already got food scraps there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And another way to harvest your amazing fermented food scraps is to add this to your outdoor compost pile. So you basically dig a hole in the center of the pile, dump the fermented food scraps, cover it, and it acts as a compost bomb. And it rapidly increases the breakdown process.
So this bacteria is going to already work with whatever's already in your traditional pile with the tarp over it, and just really help that bacteria. They're not going to fight. They're going to help work together.
Work together.
Okay, so they're allies.
Absolutely.
Well, sweet. Is there any other things you want to touch on? Plug your site one more time in case people want to buy it from Morgan.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I would recommend it. I'm actually already buying some myself, so.
Thanks.
And you'll see some more videos on that. So I'm going to do some kind of my results that I'm getting from them. So that'll be in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Keep an eye out for the Indiegogo campaign. It'll be called Compost Evolved, Growing a Zero Food Waste Movement. Culture, forgive me. Growing a zero food waste culture.
All right.
And my website is BokashiEvolution.com, and I'm located here in Tempe, Arizona.
Sweet. Well, thank you, Morgan, and hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.